classification of solid. Obviously now we have learned the basic thing of solid state, that is the basic property which you have been studying since eternity. Okay, now you have classification of crystalline solid, classification of crystalline solids. Okay, now what are these? Crystalline solids can be classified on the basis of nature of intermolecular forces operating in them into 4 categories. Now we have crystalline solids. Okay, crystalline solids are crystalline and amorphous solid. We will be learning in the crystalline solids in details. Okay, so crystalline solids can be classified on the basis, like I said, obviously in our solid we have particles, and the intermolecular force plays a very vital role. Okay, so we will learn about the intermolecular force. The crystalline solid can be classified on the basis of nature of intermolecular forces operating in them to 4 categories. We will study into 4 categories the classification, the crystalline solids. Okay, first is the molecular solid, ionic solid, metallic solid and covalent solid. Okay, we will be learning about the molecular solid, we will be learning about the ionic, metallic and covalent. Okay, now let us see the 4 categories. Okay, I have taken this from your textbook. Okay, this is the table that you have in your textbook. We will see the overview, because this table, anything can be asked from here. Okay, anything can be asked from here in the form of MCQ, in the form of 1 mark question, in the form of 2 mark question. So you need to be ready from unexpected portion. Okay, sometimes what happens is that in your examination you learn and go those things which you feel is the most important, but ultimately you get such questions that are very easy and you have never expected them. As a result, your paper goes very bad. So we don't need to do this mistake. We need to be prepared for the best and for the worst. Okay, let's take the worst case scenario. Suppose these are some questions that might not come because there are more important portion in this chapter, but we do never know, right, what type of question can be, there can be different question, and sometimes we get the easier ones that makes the question tough. Okay, so let us get ready for the worst case scenario. Suppose the easy portion comes in your exam. Okay, well, let us see. Like I said, there are molecular solid, okay, ionic solid, metallic solid, covalent or network solid. Okay, now molecular solid, what is the constituent particle? Molecules. Okay, H2O, CO2, these are molecules, right? I hope you know the difference between molecules, atoms and all these things. Okay, these are the very basic thing taught in your class 11th first chapter. Okay, then molecular solids, the constituent particle, this is the solid. Okay, this is the solid that we have. This is the solid we have. Now the constituent particle, the constituent particle of this solid are molecules. For example, we can take any example of a molecule like H2O, then CO2 or anything. Okay, we can take H2, HCl. These are the constituent particles of our solid. ठीक है सर. Next, under molecular solid we have non-polar, we have polar and hydrogen bonded. Non-polar means, I hope you know, you have studied class 11 chapter 3 properly, and in that chapter we had something called as electronegativity. Correct? I really hope you know. If you don't know, let me just give a gist. Okay, we have 2 elements, suppose hydrogen and chlorine. Now I think you know that chlorine is more electronegative than hydrogen. Correct? Since chlorine is more electronegative than hydrogen, what will chlorine do? Chlorine will will try to take electron density from hydrogen, making it delta negative and making it delta positive. Okay, now since chlorine has taken some electron density of hydrogen, this is called as polar molecule. Okay, this is called as polar molecule. Okay, you understood? Then suppose we took the example of hydrogen. Now in hydrogen and hydrogen, both the molecule, what is it? In both the in this hydrogen and this hydrogen, none of them are more electronegative, okay, or less electronegative. As a result, no electron, there is no shift in electron density. So they are not polar molecule, and hence they are non-polar. And hence they are non-polar. Okay. I hope you understood this thing. Okay, this is the thing, that is polar and non-polar. Now you may ask, ma'am, what is hydrogen bond then? Okay, hydrogen bond means, suppose we have this thing. Okay, we have this oxygen, we have hydrogen, this is the thing. You will get these things in details in your later chapter. There is some interaction between this hydrogen and this oxygen. Okay, there is some interaction, and this interaction is called as hydrogen bonding. Okay, this interaction is called as hydrogen bonding. What it is, how it is happening, this is we will study in details in the later part of your syllabus. Okay, or I think you must have studied it in your class 11th. If you have studied it in your class 11th, you must know this nicely. Okay, so these were the things that this is non-polar, polar and hydrogen bonded. Cool. Now the bonding attractive forces, like I said you, there is, we understood what the constituent particle is. Now there is some forces, attraction forces or repulsive forces. What are those forces? Okay, again these are the terms that you have learned in your class 11. Like I always say, everything is linked, everything is, you have to clear all the terms, so that in your higher classes, when you get all the term back, that is easier to recall. Okay, like if you have studied electronegativity nicely, hydrogen bonding nicely, it must be very easy to catch what I am saying. Okay, here the attractive forces are dispersion or London force. Okay, dispersion or London force, I hope you know. So these are the forces acting here. Next we have dipole-dipole interaction, and last one we have hydrogen bonding. In polar we have London force, in non-polar we have London force, in non-polar we have London force, in polar we have dipole-dipole, and in hydrogen bonding we have hydrogen bonding interaction. Now examples. What are the examples? Examples are ArCCl4 is there, then we have H2 and I2 are non-polar, CO2 polar, HCl polar, SO2. Okay, these are example of polar and non-polar. Hydrogen bonded is H2 is hydrogen bonded example. Now the physical state. Now we know when we have something, we can see the physical state. Like this solid is, what is it? It is hard, correct? So we can see the physical state. Okay, the physical state of first is solid. The non-polar are solid, soft. Polar are soft, but the hydrogen bonded ones are hard. Okay, next we have three of them are insulator. Insulator means no electricity can be conducted. Okay, no electricity can be conducted. And the melting point, I hope you know melting point, you have studied it in class 9. The point when the solid change to liquid. Okay, the melting point of non-polar is very low. For polar and hydrogen, the melting point is low, but not not less than non-polar. I hope you understood. Okay, I hope I made my point clear for the molecular solid. Next we have ionic solid. Okay, in ionic solid again we have another solid state here. We have another solid state here. Here the constituent particles are ion. Okay, this constituent particles making this molecule is ion. We have different ions. So those are the things. Now you know, right, what is ions? Ion means one will lack electron, and the other one will have extra electron, and one will give to the other and make a molecule like this. Okay, so the constituent particles is ion. The this is one particle, other particle, in between them the force of attraction is Coulombic or electrostatic force of attraction is there. This is again you have studied in your physics in class 9. Okay, or in class 11. The examples are NaCl, MgO, ZnS, CaF2. These are the examples of ionic solids. Okay, next we have the physical nature. They are hard and brittle, which means that they are very hard and brittle. Okay, this is the physical state of ionic solid. Now electrical conductivity, do they conduct electricity or not? In insulators in solid state, but conductors in molten state. Now ionic solids are insulator. In solid state, ionic solid cannot conduct electricity, but in molten state, okay, they can conduct electricity. Okay, their melting point is very high, which means you need to give more, heat to melt it into solid to liquid. Next we have metallic solid. Now in metallic solid, again the constituent particle like this, they are positive ions. Okay, they are positive ions in a sea of delocalized electron. Okay, we will learn about it in detail. There is Frankel, okay, Frankel and the positive. There is a box where we will have the sea of electron. Okay, let me just explain it to you here itself. We have a solid here. Okay, there is lot of electron. Okay, there is lot of electron and this is called as the sea of electron. Okay, these electrons are too many. In them we have some positive. Okay, those are metallic solid. Here we have metallic bonding. Example, iron, copper, silver, magnesium. Okay, and the property is they are hard but they are malleable. When we malleable means, you understand it, like clay. Okay, they are malleable and ductile. Okay, we can change the shape of iron, copper, all these things. Okay, they are conductor. They are conductor, which means that like iron conduct electricity. Okay, so they conduct electricity. Their melting point is high. Next we have covalent or network solid. Here the constituent particles are atom. Okay, we have atoms as our constituent particles. Here covalent bonding is there, and examples is SiO2, quartz, right? Quartz watch, that things. Okay, diamond is under our diamond is also a solid that comes under covalent or network solid. They are hard and they are also soft. Okay, like graphite is soft, right? Pencil nib, they are soft. They are conductor. Okay, SiO2, quartz and all are insulator, but there is an exception that the graphite they conduct electricity. Okay, and their melting point is very high. Now with this we will end this class. See you next class.